Hello and merhaba. My name is Taj Al-Deeb, recording this podcast on the 5th of October 2021 from the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations. As a storyteller, I acknowledge that First Nations people were the original storytellers of this land. Can you imagine living for 3 weeks with no electricity, no water, no gas, no internet? Living in silence or fearing hearing echoes of weapons from distance, seeing smoke from candles all around the house, tens of them, making different shapes with the melted parts. Most of you probably won't, but I did. And I wrote a song about it called Whisper. It might sound like a dark story now, but I do invite you to bring a hot beverage of your choice, because I want to take you on a journey with me to tell you how I learned to appreciate silence, listen to Claire de Lune every day of my life, and how environments around me shaped the music I love now, and write Whisper. Honestly, my parents were detrimental in shaping what was food to my ears over the years. They're good listeners and played some instruments as a hobby. And they say music in the first 3 years of a child's life is very important. It engages their oral and physical states in learning, where parents are held most accountable for. Every morning at my house, you would hear the Arabic barbarous face and Fairuz coming from the radio, like every Syrian household. Kids at 4 years old were singing Twinkle Twinkle at school, while I sang a good old iconic Kulthum song that Dad taught me while playing the oud on probably a road trip or something. However, music of Yanni, Beethoven, Richard Klederman especially defined the evenings. It was the only culture I knew for years. Eastern classical, Western classical, and a little bit about the world. As a 6-year-old, I was the girl who sat in every single rehearsal of a local band called Zikrayat with a piano toy in my hand, and members of that band still contact me to today. They were mesmerized by the capacity of me just sitting there observing for hours without saying a word. Then jumping to when I was 11, found myself in an international piano competition in the opera house of the capital, Damascus, where I had to forcefully hear Claire de Lune every day played for a minimum of 10 times. And, I still do listen to that song 10 or more times a day. I'm able to engage with any emotional state, from happy to angry and all that in between. And that's why I call it my favorite song. Have you watched the movie The Pianist that came out in the 2000s? Do you remember the scene where the piano man was playing the piano on air? He wasn't allowed to make a noise or be discovered. I was in that same position 8 years ago as the civil war strikes the Syrian region. All I remember from my experience with war is that moment when my family and I decided to just forget all of the scary silence from the outside that could be followed also by a disturbing sound. I pressed the practice pedal on the piano. Some were clapping or drumming on the tables, Dad was on the oud, and Mom and sisters were whispering the lyrics away. And that's how, 6 years later, the song Whisper came to life. The way we experience music is always evolving, and our culture and surrounding will always indirectly influence our music taste. So turn off everything now, and I hope you listen to what's around and enjoy the silence between the notes, the beautiful notes of the life that we live in.